embrace the possibilities.
Let's make the future for 360 film.
I think we should do our cities and buildings differently.
This is my message. Think.
Development for me means increase in complexity.
It's a simple addition for a designer, but it saves a lot of time in practice.
Polyester resin is not so clever.
So this could be interesting for you as well.
It's a real pleasure to be here, although I am doubly nervous. I'm going to get smashed at the bar later on. My topic really is not very technical, but very topical, because I can guarantee a lot of you have fiberglass boats out there, and very often you're either sailing into somebody else if you're unlucky, or smashing into something. And it does worry me that a lot of people who think they're on a right-of-way tack are not keeping a very good lookout, and they end up smashed like this. It's a big concern, really. I've seen a lot of boat yards. I've worked in the boat business for 40 years. I've worked for Wessex Resins for the last 20 years. I know I don't look old enough. But it does worry me, some people still repair boats with polyester resin. Polyester resin is not so clever for doing this kind of work. First job is, when you're doing repair, is to assess how far the repair extends. It could be apparently the size of a dinner plate, but it could extend to the size of a table. So assessment is very good. Preparation is so important. You saw on the previous slide, creating a circular scarf joint, a bevel, is so important to get good surface area for your new repair. Big advantages here to using epoxy, powerful adhesion, etc, low shrinkage, and you can see here the result of a repair that I did a long time ago in days long gone by, 10 years on, and still very nice and fair, very stable, very low shrinkage. Of course, these repairs can be quite involved. You can have a repair where you have subtle damage to a deck edge with a lot of detailing, maybe a moulded rubbing strake, and it's very easy to take a splash, a little mould off the other side of the boat, that you can then make another bit of rubbing strake and glue it onto the other side. Really neat and clever things that you can do. You can only do that with the adhesive power of epoxy resin. So here are a few top tips for looking at a repair. Assessment, very important. Preparation, beveling the repair, cutting out the damage, beveling the repair, etc. Car body filler, which I've seen a lot in boat yards. Polyester car body filler isn't really much good on a car, let alone a boat. So don't use it on your boat. Don't be tempted to use it on your boat. Use an epoxy filler so that you're actually getting some structure in the repair. Small boat repair, small catamarans, and small areas of damage, like this front end damage. This is an enthusiastic winner at my local yacht club. Unfortunately, he was so enthusiastic, he hit the jetty on his return to the yacht club. And this is just a very simple repair using short chopped fibres with a thickening additive to stipple into the repair and get an internal lock into the repair. Very neat and easy to do, with just using a wooden mixing stick and some peel ply to wrap around the repair. Peel ply is fundamental to these kind of repairs. It saves you sanding, it saves you acres of time. Of course, you then come against repairs where you have a sandwich structure, you have a cord structure. And this kind of repair, again, assessment, very important. Making some cutting patterns is so important. So you can see here, I've made a cutting pattern for the repair, a cutting pattern that comes in handy for cutting the foam, and then I've made a backing pad, which you can see on this far left-hand side, I've glued in place, so I've got something to laminate against. I started off with the biggest patch first. Always start off with the biggest patch first. Gives you the maximum contact surface area. And of course, a man armed with a vacuum pump, has no limits here. I used the vacuum pump to really compress, consolidate the foam deep against the inner skin laminate. Laminated over the top of that with pigmented resin, and then conducted a gel coat repair on the top of that. Gel coat does take very well to well-cured epoxy. This kind of repair, this was a write-off really, but the owner of the boat had sentimental reasons for keeping it, and he asked me if I'd repair it, and I needed a really good holiday that year, so I agreed. And so I went through a process of wanting with this to work inside the boat, because I did the repair in winter time. So working inside, I had a boat-shaped workshop. I just faired the damage with some filler, and then I made it very good, polished it up with wet and dry paper, and got a really good gloss on it. And then I took a splash off the area by waxing it and making a mould, and then releasing that mould away. And maybe you can see just along the perimeter of this repair, there are little holes which I drilled through the whole lot so I could secure the splash. The next thing I did was I summoned up some Dutch courage, and my yacht club has an excellent bar, so I went and had some concentration liquid so I could conduct this repair and come through to the next part of the repair. I wouldn't suggest this if you're using power tools or anything like that. It is a joke. Because the next step was quite serious, because I did this. So I cut out all the filler that I'd put in place, and the locating holes around the splash gave me the perfect point to relocate it, and then move inside the boat where I could put a heater, nice and warm, and conduct my repair. I used some polyester gel coat for the top side, some epoxy gel coat below the waterline. The gel coat on the top sides, I put some waxing styrene in it so it dried completely in the air, and then a braid, and then I could conduct my epoxy laminate repair. I used a lot of biaxial fabric. Biaxial fabric is fantastic because of the straight runs of fibre. Thanks for sharing. Everyone's entitled to their 4 minutes of fame. I'm glad you shared mine. Thank you.